Hello again. So today's video is about writers. I had mentioned this before. I had been asked to look into Franz Kafka. I guess he's been newly discovered by Gen Z. He's very popular. And also Les Miserables has been coming to mind lately due to our climate and people starving in Gaza and the populist energy and Pluto and Aquarius. And Victor Hugo, I decided, I'm not an expert. I watch a lot of movies, but I haven't really read any of his books. So I just wanted to say he also wrote The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And he was a French romantic, author, poet, essayist, playwright, journalist, human rights activist, and politician. But that's Wikipedia. I didn't go beyond that. I don't like to get too much information, but I wanted to share with you what I got. This was different. It was hard. I immediately got, frantic isn't the right energy, but a super intense, active, like a guy running around, like racing to fix things and do things. His energy is very intense. And I feel like his family was wealthy, but he feels very strong-willed. His energy is very, I want to do this, I got to do that, and I've got things to do, places to go, that kind of stuff. I know he was a Pisces because I saw the birthday, which is very interesting because I feel like his energy is super intense and very fiery, but as a Pisces, I think he had the best of both worlds, where he combined the creativity of Neptune, which rules Pisces, which is writing, artistic, poetry, all things that are in that place of connection to the spirit, that, inspiration, imagination. So he was channeling that, I think, in a lot of ways, in the fire energy that he had. And I'm still picturing Les Miserables, but he was a great mix of strength. I'm reading my notes, and creativity, very busy. I feel like he walked and walked and walked. I feel like he's walking, like just always walking. And I know in France people walk a lot, or did. Yeah, because he was in the 1800s, I think 1802 to, here it is, 1802 to May 22nd, 1885. So I lived to be 83, which isn't too bad. But then he's saying, I asked him about lessons. When on the soul level, I'm always asking about lessons and everything. And he's saying, I want nothing to do with quote unquote traditions anymore. And he has that intensity. He said, I feel like I would like to hang out with him. I feel like he is inspiring. He's very active in his imagination. He's very powerful and very directed. Ambitious, yes, too. There's some ambition here. But the ambition is to communicate and put out the message, or write the whatever it is, the stories, the poetry, the journals, whatever it is that he's trying to communicate with. He's telling me we are powerful because the lesson is he's learned that we are all powerful and can change everything. And he has a military sense of righteousness, like a leader that's got a platoon behind them, and they feel like, kind of like the story of Les Miserables and the Jean Valjean, or what? No. Is that the guy, the lead guy? I'm sure you guys will correct me. The guy that is the leader and trying to get everybody saved. No, maybe Jean Valjean is he's the protagonist in, I just looked it up, Les Miserables. Anyway, he feels that energy. I feel like he embodies that. I feel like he wishes that could be his, or he, it doesn't wish, because he lives that. I feel like he's living that life where he's fighting for the underdog kind of vibe. Even though he feels very righteous in the military. And he's putting that into his work. I also saw, when I'm in his energy, I feel like I'm sitting by a window and the light is coming in, and he liked to work wherever this was. He liked the sun coming onto his papers, and he wrote there. I don't know where that was. And he's French, but I don't know where he was in France. And he saw a lot of corruption and poverty everywhere. And it's funny, he had a sixth sense because of maybe the Piscean energy. Like I said, it was a great combination of righteousness and doing the right thing, and also creativity to share his views and get people to understand it, because you can think it, but without sharing it or people listening, by communicating in some way, shape, or form, he had that really good ability to do that. I think I said embodied Jean Valjean. He likened himself to be. Later in life, I got the impression too that he fell into some of the trappings of the wealthy that he kind of wrote against. And I don't know if that was an issue for him or he was just comfortable. Maybe he had guilt about it. Maybe that's what it was. Like he felt really bad because he didn't want to be that person or that elite rich people. I think that had something to do with it later in life. And so I asked him about lessons. He says, nothing is out of our hands. He said, I was military in our lives, and I see that leadership is everything. We must stand up for our fellow man. And then I see how humans... So, okay, just stop right there. I went outside and I meditated on this subject, like his soul, and I was sitting outside, and he was really hard to, like, get in deep. So, in a soul level, which... I haven't had an issue with that before. Usually I can find if they're up there, they're gone, they're back, they're in rocks, whatever it is. For whatever reason, he was very he didn't tell me. He wouldn't show up for that for whatever reason. So I asked him on a soul level, what did you get from this life? And he's like, he thought that men could change, and it just took, like I just said, the leader to help focus that change. But on a soul level, he realizes that we can change in micro increments, but men will abuse power forever, and we have to stay on pushing and pressure and pressure and pressure, because little by little, that corruption or the power will grow, and those that can't help themselves will be trod upon. And that's the feeling I get. It was that he had this idea when he was alive that everybody can change, and we just need to get the word out, and we can, like, it's like a romantic idea of inspiration. If I inspire them, everybody will get the idea and it'll change. On a soul level, he sees that it didn't, that humans are humans. But he did say that our job is to do what we can incrementally to change the world. We can't do this. We hope that we could do it all at once. But he's saying that it's more about these incremental changes, and it's exhausting. He said, and then this is the other thing I got, because I couldn't get his soul. It was really different. And then I got the impression that he was divinely sent. And that's why I'm having a hard time with it. I feel like, he's not Christ-like or anything, but it's like that vibe was in Joan of Arc, because it feels there's a divine element to him. I don't know what that means, but it's connected with the country, the land. It's more about the land of France. The country's borders have changed over the centuries, but it's something about the land of France and his divine duty. And this could just be interpreted as his connection to spirit, or the way he channeled higher power, whatever he looked. I don't know if he was Catholic. Hunchback of Notre Dame was in a cathedral. I don't know, but it feels it's about France, that he came in this body in that time because it was open to the opportunity due to the stars aligning in a certain way that he would be here to be the voice for Franz. So I don't know in the past life if he had a history and he's coming to repeat. Maybe that has something to do with it because he felt he needed to fix something from the past in France. But it was a divine directive. Go figure. I never saw that coming. He says because she needed, she meaning France. He said, I got the feeling of romanticism, fighting for freedom of expression, and more humane stars aligned there and very divine. So that's the end of my notes there. So I am, as you guys, I find these images so strange and interesting. I don't feel that I almost feel like he's back there. He's back in France. There's something, and usually you travel all over the world. You don't stick to one country when your souls ascend and come back and incarnate into different beings. But for whatever reason, he is attached to France. And are you Joan of Arc? Is that possible? No, she's ascended. She's a martyr, and she's not back. She's taking her position in the heavenly realms. I think he was paying his karmic debt to France for that life. Isn't that interesting? I think he did something prior, and I don't know what that would be. But ultimately, he feels like we can make change. He learned post-life that it's very incremental, and humans are prone to corruption and power abuse of power. Very, very interesting. The energy, the other energy, is he's not light. He's not a light guy. He's not happy and running around. He's intense. He's powerful. It feels like he's walking. There's a lot of activity. But it was his duty. I feel like he did his duty, even though he did it in this crazy, creative, humanistic way. Very militaristic-y kind of vibe. Not light and cheery. But no. So now I'm going to look into Franz Kafka. Somebody had asked me a while back, and I don't remember who it was, but I'm going to work on him. And when I meditated on him, those of you who are new here, I meditate on these souls, people that have passed on. I get all sorts of very interesting images. Immediately in his energy, I feel very small. I don't know if he was a little person, but I feel very tiny. I almost go to the point of being a baby. So maybe there has something to do with him as a child. I don't know if he had illness, something like that. But I feel like as a baby, it was something that affected him his whole life. And when I get into his, I feel like he died young. I know he did, actually. I knew that. But I think he had TB or something. But I feel tired. I'm just really tired with him. And it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like an emptiness. And it's like a feeling of a lack of senses. That sounds weird. Like a sensual nature. And sometimes I liken this to the world of autism or the world of Asperger's, where social cues and stuff. But this is different. It's like when I use Elon Musk as an example, he in his brain is robotic, but not Tesla, because Tesla came to mind. I'm going to work on him another time. But those two, for whatever reason, I've got them tight in my head. But Franz Kafka, it's different for him. It's in his body. It's not in his brain and how he thinks. It's a weird thing in his body that is disconnected with sensory things. I don't know what that is. I don't think he had any sort of neurological problem that I could tell, but I don't think so. Because when I got into his soul, I have my notes here, so I have to refer to them. So I'm sorry about that. I saw him on a soul level. He came into this life. You guys might think I'm crazy, but this is what I see. he is part of, I don't know what you call an alien or somebody from another universe. And these fractions of life that we are, you and I are, we're all part of, my theory is the Big Bang Theory, that the world or the universe blew up, all, whatever this is, blew up. And all these tiny fractions of energy coalesced eventually into different galaxies, different stars orbiting around different, like we have the sun now and our galaxies around the sun and all our planets. That's taken, I don't know, beyond billions and billions of years, right? So we're all trying to get back to the God light, which is that original place. But humans probably couldn't conceive of that, so they created a God feeling, which it truly is. It's pureness. It is pure love, but it's also a neutral. It's a pure perfection, but it's a neutral. So we're all trying to get back there to feel that and get out of this ego place and just all the anxiety and stuff that happens to us, right? And all the stuff we learn here on this planet Earth. Well, it's weird because I feel like he came into this world already as part of that being out there. He was fractured. I see a lot of people that when they pass away, for whatever reason, their soul doesn't leave together, or it splits apart. Something about healing, that they have to heal in different parts of them. And he's came into this world with that. So only a part of him came in. And I think there were two different parts, and that part of him, or different parts, were assembled from those beings, or being part of that really extreme place, the place that is foreign to Earth. It's the only way I can think of it. It's not an earthly place. So there's no senses there. So he came in with that. And he's in this five senses body, but there's something about it which was difficult. And I picture his body like he had two sides that, if you imagine a person's body that's hollow, and on both sides, there are items like stuff that fills our body, that the energies move around and we learn from. His were like, it was like two sides that couldn't connect. He had all these things over here and all these things over here. And I see them as like dark, like blobby things, different shapes and stuff. But his soul was meant to put those together, or this being soul, and he couldn't do it in this life. And that was part of his lesson. Because I always ask these people, what was your lesson? And it was living in this body and somehow assembling, coalescing, putting himself together, or bringing it together with a human soul, a human being, and sort of learning to be in a body, to get that information, to use it for later. It seems strange. But he had difficulty. I said, what was your lesson? And he said, it was life through difficulty. And then I see him riding a bike in physical life, as, Kafka. I see him riding a bike, and he's going like this on the bike, tipping back and forth. But something about riding a bike was important to him, because I don't know if he was really anxious, but the feeling is that he liked doing that to like burn off this anxiety that was happening to him. Probably because it was really difficult for him to combine what he knew as a human and this external place he was from, whatever that is, this energy of another being. And he had to make sense of that. So anxiety came up. Or maybe it was just life, and he was trying to live as a human. It was just hard. So the anxiety on that bike, he would ride this bike and it felt really good. He feels the air is rushing, pulling through him. And I always see, this is my theory, time passes through our hearts, right? So it makes sense to me that that's what was happening. And I already told you, like, autism, but it's not exactly, or mentally different, but not exactly. It's more like he was a different person, a different being, honestly. And he called it a correcting life. I don't know what that means. He was trying to correct things. He said, I learned to begin putting pieces inside of me together, disjointed. And I see him, he was a very old soul, or very old piece of light, or very old entity, very old. So this was his attempt at this point. I don't know how many times he'd been to Earth. I didn't ask that, but then I asked him where he is now, because a lot of times I see people come back right away, or they incarnate a few years later or whatever. He is, it's been 100 years since he's died. He has not come back. He's still up there. That's where he's comfortable. If comfort is a thing there, but not, it's a blink of an eye time. 100 years isn't anything. So he's up there still, wherever that is, not wanting to come or needing to come, or it was hard. It was hard for him. So it's almost like he needs to wait for the perfect timing for something. And as we get more evolved as humans, maybe that's going to be it. He's assimilating fractures and lights of God, he calls it. But it was too difficult. He was trying to put all the pieces together inside of him. And I told you, he's still gone in the heavenly realms, 100 years. Staying out there with the other types he's sitting. So like I said. And his energies on the earth, it was like he was trying to be a human, regular 3D person, but he didn't have a lot of the skills or the understanding. I know, this is how it goes with me. So there you go. Franz Kafka. I know, I think he's gotten a resurgence in popularity. I quickly saw a little title somewhere with Gen Z. And I think he's gotten noticed because of his writings. They're different. And I believe that he is aware of that. I believe he is aware of that. But it's not bringing him down anytime soon. But there's not like it's emotional. It's not like he's going, yay, I see what's going on. It's sort of, not robotic isn't the right word, but mechanical in a way. Well, that's robotic, but it's not emotional at all. All right, guys, there you go. It asked me about Gene Roddenberry, Star Trek screenwriter, and I might look into him. And then Agatha Christie. I don't think I've ever looked into her. So there's two writers. Not anytime soon. I think I'm going to be looking into politics here again, because we got nothing happening. All right, you guys. Thank you for all your interesting comments and your suggestions and your likes and shares, and just thank you. Thank you for keep showing up, and I'll keep showing up too. All right, take care.